I just realized my microphone is really far away. Okay. What's up, and welcome to episode 39 of Brewing Through the Multiverse. We're a Magic the Gathering podcast. My name's Mike.
And I'm Joel, and we know what we're doing. This is 39
boy.
episodes in, and we got it.
How we doing, man?
Doing well. I've been brewing a lot of commander decks actually.
Oh, that's dangerous.
So yeah, I've been bitten by the bug. I'm getting some Bloomburrow limited in here and there.
Nice.
On Arena.
I love
Been
it.
very Magic focused lately, honestly.
So you're looking into building new commanders. Does that mean you put other commanders on the chopping block, or is it just add to the family?
So something that you actually inspired me with was like, I noticed the last time we played at the commander my bachelor party that you just had like a binder full of like great cards that should be in decks and whatnot, and I was thinking like there's no reason that I couldn't break decks down but keep everything from it and then just have like a depository of all my like like good cards, like playable cards and whatnot, and then just like kind of mix and match them based on like when the next commander session is. So like, yes, break a deck down, but not necessarily sell it for parts. Just like keep all the parts, and then like I could just keep building new decks with other things. There's no reason to keep buying like new things, and I never get a chance to play all my decks anyway. So I'm gonna try to start doing that. I was even considering buying the same color sleeves for every deck now, so that like if everything is in the same colored sleeve, I could literally just grab whatever, put them all together, and then make, every session like here's a new combination of things. So that's an experiment I'm going to try.
That's something I've always wanted to do, was put all my decks in one color sleeve. I think Troy does that. And then that way it's easy to swap things out. But at the same time, I do love having different sleeves for every deck. So that's something that just for taste wise, I'm always iffy on. But it makes sense. It makes so much sense. Uh, that's exciting for you. That unlocks a lot to be able to just break down a deck without the pressure of knowing it's getting sold, not being able to put back together.
Yeah.
Just it leaves for more flexibility. I do it out of laziness. So every deck that I break apart, what I do is I'll take all the cards that are over $1 and I just put them in a pile, and then I put all the less than $1 cards in a pile, and they both just sit there. Like right now, I'm looking at 3 decks all the way back to Galadriel of just
Damn.
broken up of expensive and cheap. But I mean, I have like 3 heroic interventions just laying around in random piles, and so where you're going to utilize
you have
it.
enough. I guarantee you have enough to build like a random deck.
Oh, for sure. I could probably build 2 if I wanted to get weird with it. I mean, the amount of Simic cards that I have laying around, but then I have the pressure of having to play them. So you're doing this to optimize and have the most use for all these cards, and honestly, I do it just because I'm kind of lazy about how I break down cards. But it is helpful. Like right now, I'm building a deck, and there are maybe 50% of the cards that are laying around here that I didn't even think I would have, like Swan Songs. It's like, I don't want to buy another Swan Song. Oh shit, I have one right here. So
Exactly.
Definitely helpful.
I'm done buying like Teferi's protections and like Smothering Tithes.
Yeah.
For every deck, Cyclonic Rifts. Like I have enough. Now it's just put them in the recycling bin and use them for another thing.
Yeah. Rotate them around. Nice. And how was your drafting going for Bloomburrow? Any change on perspective?
I am shit at drafting, honestly. I think it's just at the end of the day, that's what it is. Because even when I do other drafts, like for like the other sets that rotate in and out for quick draft and things like that, it's so rare that I do well. Like I feel like I average like 2 or 3 wins per draft, honestly. And it's pretty disheartening.
Yeah, but you can't blame yourself. You have to blame the random draw mechanic and also the luck of all your opponents. Don't ever blame yourself. Blame it on everything else.
Right, exactly.
That's how you survive draft.
It's not me, yeah. I just feel like I'm just not great at evaluating. What I really should do is sit down, and I'm sure that there's a ton of great resources out there for like drafting tips and whatnot, and even like TCG Player, I subscribe to the Infinite, so I'm sure there's articles on there from some pros about like drafting, like evaluation strategies and whatnot. So I just have to do my research. I just don't feel like my raw Magic knowledge is enough to help me draft well.
Yeah, I feel that. But at the same time, when I'm playing draft, I'm doing it more just to see how these cards interact and see if I can make things work. And I understand that I'm not always going to be winning more than I'm losing. Um, but as with Commander, and I don't know if it's a bad byproduct of Commander, but when I play, I don't fucking care whether I win or lose as long as it's good games, which is a bad mentality to have in a 1v1 competitive format. But sometimes I'm just there to see the bunnies and do the shit. Um, you know, you lose a lot of draft tokens that way, but I don't know. I'm still enjoying the format though. Do you think it's at least a good draft format?
I don't know what's good and bad, to be honest with you. Like
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. In my opinion, I feel like in the past historically have liked more of like the March of the Machine or Outlaws draft environment that have bonus sheets where it's like somebody could have like a like quirky, like very powerful like cards, you know what I mean? Like I like those.
Yeah.
Um I just feel like with Bloomborough that like if you're not on rabbits, like you're not doing it right. Because I tried to do mice again and I just got shithoused.
Right. So, all right. So that's fair. You don't it's enjoying it enough to come back and play it again, but not really your favorite draft format. All
Yeah,
right.
right now I'm actually trying to gear up for standard. Like I'm trying to, I've got my drafting in. I've got a decent chunk of Bloomborough cards. I'm really looking to see like how many wild cards I need to put together a standard deck and start fucking around with that.
That's awesome to hear. That's honestly the most exciting part of this is because standard is as good as it gets right now. So awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm leaning towards Orzov.
good. The best cards are in there. You'll have fun. You could get Praetors and bunnies and
Creature of the
doublers.
Schisms.
Yeah. Yeah. All the schisms. All right. Well, hey, we did our 8-person draft this weekend for
We
your
did.
bachelor party. That was one of the funnest adult events I've ever been part of in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, sadly, yes.
Uh, it was we drafted Battle for Baldur's Gate, Commander Legends. It was an awesome draft environment. Like everyone's decks were really fucking cool. It was so fun to do it in person. We're gonna have to do this annually. So I don't know. That was the coolest fucking thing. But it
Yeah,
had me thinking,
go on.
what they need to do more 4-person draft focused sets like Battle Bond and like Conspiracy and shit like that. Cause like this is the way to do Magic is 4-player, draft pods. So they need to start working on more of this shit because I want all of this.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was actually just trying to look up Commander Legends came out in 2020. Sorry, excuse me. Commander Legends Baldur's Gate came out in 2022. So it's
Okay.
2024 now. Clearly we're not getting a set this year because nothing's been announced, but like I wouldn't be surprised if next year nothing's been announced either, but maybe we'll get something. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I do hope they consistently do. I like the legend sets. Drafting Commander is a lot of fun. Long story short.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
I
feel
think
like
two.
I understand it more, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. It was great. I think 2 years is a bit long for a 4-person drafting thing. They need to get that shit annually.
Yeah.
or at least 2 years and guarantee it, because you're saying that it's not announced, so maybe we don't see it, which would then put it to 3 years, which is unacceptable. As of that last weekend, suddenly this is unacceptable. I want so much more of this.
I also just want to point out how much of a Herculean effort it was to get 8 dudes in their 30s together on a Sunday to play 8 hours of fucking Magic the Gathering. So kudos to you for pulling the strings.
On paper, it's hard, but at the end of the day, when you have a whole bunch of junkies and addict friends, it's not that hard. Everyone
was down.
Oh yeah.
What did you end up putting together? I don't think I played against you.
So not a single person out of the 8 of us, no one else drafted red at all. There was no one using red. So I took all the red. I had every red card. I had a dragon tribal deck. It was fucking fantastic. Treasure tokens, burn damage, and dragons. My commander, whenever you cast a dragon, it deals damage to anything equal to the CMC of a dragon. And my fucking other thing had a dragon. Whenever it was so fucking tight with dragons, because I was the only person using red. So worked out really well. How about you?
That's actually, well, before I even go into my thing, that's a meta comment about why I'm not skilled at drafting, actually, because I know that part of the meta game of drafting is like, oh, I'm getting past these things. Clearly the players on my side of the table are not grabbing these things. Therefore, I should grab these things because I'm more likely to get the better cards of this color because no one near me is taking them. And I find that I commit too much in the beginning and then like no swaps or deviations. Like I should have I did see all those red cards coming and I was like, well, I'm already doing my thing, so like I'm not gonna get, but like, after like the third red rare that like passes you gotta think like maybe I should just start taking these red fucking cards, dude. What?
Yeah.
I ended up drafting a black white go wide kind of tokeny deck with Minathra as my commander, who I actually got past in like literally the last 2 cards I was given had my commander in it. Otherwise, I was gonna run a background and like an uncommon to make it black white. The one thing I'll say though is that I in the beginning went black white because I was getting initiative cards a lot. Which side note, I actually like kind of wanted to maybe look into some of the initiative like more. Maybe make a deck with that. That's kind of one of my like, oh, maybe I should break some stuff up and then put together. That's actually what inspired it because I don't want to buy a bunch of new shit for like a bullshit initiative deck. But with the rares that we pulled from the draft and with like staples that I have floating around, I feel like I could probably slap something together. But regardless, yeah. So I got a bunch of initiative cards. Then like midway started to switch like tokeny kind of things as well. And then by the end, when I put the deck together, I realized I didn't have any room for both. So I ended up just going with tokens and I ended up wasting all of my like initiative rares. So I do wonder what would have been different if I ended up going that route. Like more so.
Yeah. Initiative ended up, I didn't realize it triggered as soon as you took the initiative. I thought it was like Monarch where it's an end step thing. So finding out during this draft that whenever you take initiative, something happens immediately was actually really cool because typically you have to wait for the end step for something to trigger. And I think initiative is upkeep. So it happens when you take it
and then upkeep.
But also upkeep. But I just read upkeep, so I was like, that's not that impressive. But during our draft is when I realized how fucking cool it is. So yeah, an initiative and dungeon deck would be a lot of fun.
Now, yeah, I would want to see how the two, because it's been a while, so I don't remember. But like I know that delve into or venture into the dungeon, there's different dungeons you can pick. But initiative is specifically the Undercity. Yeah. So I do wonder how nicely those cards play with each other when like can you venture into the dungeon if you're in the Undercity from the initiative? Like can you use the venture cards to continue on in the Undercity? is Venture to the Dungeon only the original 3 dungeons, and Initiative is only specifically, you know what I mean? Are they separate?
Yeah.
Is it a square and a rectangle situation?
I think they're completely separate. I don't think they interact at all.
I'm gonna look this up.
Although, because if you finish an Undercity, that's still, I think the Undercity is still a dungeon. So if you finish it, and then there's cards that say if you've completed a dungeon, I'd like to say that the Undercity was one, but also I have no idea. But either way, even if they aren't attached at all, it would still be fun to have them all on the deck. I picture, and this is my fucking lame, accessory side, is I picture making like an 8x11 printout of all the dungeons. That way you can like clearly see you moving through the dungeons and have like a nice board with my deck. But then the options are like, what would your commanders be for that? There's so many options. So many options. So it'd have to be partners probably, or at least, something with a background, and have fun with it. That's pretty cool. So that's one of the options that you were looking at while you were brewing this week.
Yes.
That's cool.
You cannot venture into the Undercity.
Okay. 2 totally different mechanics.
Yes, Venture into the Dungeon is specifically those other ones. And Initiative is what gets you into the Undercity.
Okay.
But you're right in the fact that they can count as completing a dungeon.
Oh, they can. Okay. At least
so
there's
if you've
that
completed
crossover.
the Undercity, that counts as you've completed a dungeon.
Cool. Ooh, that's a nice little tie-in then, at least. Good.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm drinking a West Coast style IPA from Bolero Snort with Hashery. So it has a whole bunch of little weed and hops symbols. A family affair. It's quite mediocre.
We have a Hashery dispensary in New Jersey.
Oh, I guess Bolero Snort is also from New Jersey. So this is, I believe, in collaboration with them.
Really? What? Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because clearly there is there's the little weed symbols, and it says contains beer. For anything else, visit our friends at Hashery in Hackensack, New Jersey.
Yeah, that's the spot we work with. Yeah, we shout out to the Hashery. They're good people.
Yeah. And Bolero Snort. Make a quite average beer, 7 out of 10, but
that
not gross. I'm enjoying it. It's okay. Here it is. It says it right on the can. It is a West Coast style IPA, and I'm an East Coast fella, East Coast boy over here.
Doesn't taste like oil coming out of a can. Oh,
yeah.
Wow,
Well, it's got the bitterness of a West Coast, and
what
less
does
of
East
the
Coast beer
juiciness.
have?
Very juicy. It's a brighter yellow haziness. It's juicier and smoother,
Happier and better.
Yeah, it's more new style. A lot of people will argue that the West Coast is better. I like the East Coast. This is a Bloods and Crips gang style all over again. But I prefer the East Coast. Although sometimes East Coast tastes like liquid French fries. It gets very, very carby and starchy. Anyway, my next beer, we'll cover all the beers, is Double Magically Bulicious. It's a golden stout. We'll see how that one goes. But anyway, brother, today we are going to talk about. Oh, nope, I didn't hit the button. There we go. Tokens.
Brother,
so when we were playing, there were a bunch of tokens going around, and my deck specifically was using a ton of treasure tokens. I was producing them like crazy, and we didn't have treasure tokens a few years ago. This is a new thing in Magic, and it has put itself as the forefront of how we play Magic. So much so that now when they make treasure tokens, a lot of times they have to make them tapped. That way you can't use them right away, which is a great way to get around the usefulness of the treasure token while also producing them. And at the end of the day, these tokens change the way we play. They're super useful. And they add a lot to the game. And to this week, we decided maybe we'd look into tokens, see what new ones are really useful, and then possibly see where they should be and make our own tokens.
Yeah.
Let Magic know what they need to do.
So where do you want to start?
All right. So I guess we should first cover the base of the tokens that we're kind of thinking about here. So it's the evergreen super useful tokens, and the holy trinity of it is ultimately the treasure token, the food token, the clue token. And the way it works is
I would
the
say
food
blood. I feel like blood makes its way in there.
Yes, yeah, okay. Yes, it's
It's the
fourth leg of
newcomer.
the table that kind of makes it wobbly. Yes, and I agree with you on that. Actually, blood token is one of my favorites. I don't know if people would agree with that though. I don't know if like the Magic community says blood tokens are good because when it was in standard, no one used that shit.
One more set with a blood token in it, and it'll be
I very much agree.
there.
So it ultimately breaks down to there's the tokens like food tokens that give you life, and there's really good tokens and okay tokens, but they're the life gaining. Treasure is the mana gaining, and there's other forms like the
Gold.
power stones. Power stones will technically tap for mana, but only if it's not to cast the thing. So there's gold, yeah. And then there's the clue tokens and the blood tokens, which will allow you to get card advantage, and however you pay it. So it's the three resources. It's the life, it's the mana, it's the card draw. And we have one version of the life, which is food. So we could reiterate food pretty easily. There's other ways to do it. Treasure tokens has the gold, it has power stone. So there's different variations to it, but I think we could still reiterate. And then for the card draw, we have just card draw. But okay, hear me out. As I'm looking at the stuff, my first thought is modal tokens is what we really should see next in Magic the Gathering. And I'll give you an example. All right, so we could have a token that you can either pay to deal 1 damage to an opponent or pay to gain 1 life to yourself. So it's to either deal damage or gain life, and you choose as you sacrifice it how it's going to happen. It'll allow you to work with cards that want you to even bats. Like this would have been a perfect set for something like this, where your bat you can deal 1 damage if your bat wants that. You can gain 1 life if your bat wants that. Shit like that. So right off the bat, that's where I'm thinking. Man, how do you feel about tokens?
So when I went into this, I was basically thinking like, and caveat to the listeners who might know more, but I was looking through the lens of like what avenues have tokens not touched yet as like a design space, and then I went kind of like that route for like new token designs, like other
Awesome.
things, other game actions that you can take the tokens don't currently cover. So it's possible that there's tokens that cover the ones I'll bring up today, but I feel like there's a possibility some of these could exist. As for your modal token, thinking about it, if the standard rate is, what is it to sacrifice a food? Is it 2 or 3?
It's 2 to sacrifice a food and gain 3 life.
Okay, so 2 mana is considered worth 3 life gain. So I wouldn't be surprised if for your token they do 2 mana, opponent loses 1, you gain 1, like just flat, like a drain token.
That's exactly what I've written here.
It being that, yeah.
I very much agree because 1 mana to gain that 1 or 2 to deal the 1.
I don't know if they'll ever do the modal though. I'm on board with modal. I love modal choices, so I love the design space for that, and I feel like that actually opens up like a ton of possibilities, because then it's like you could put 2 weaker effects on there, but the fact that you get to choose is where like the power comes in. So I don't know if Wizards will do that, but I do feel like that's a lot of design space there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Let's sit on this one token then for 1 second. So there is a token you can pay 1 mana, sacrifice it, gain 1 life, or 2 mana, sacrifice it, deal 1 damage. What would the name of this token be? So it can either deal damage or take life. So some ideas I have for this one is it could be a blessing token. It could be a wish token because it's kind of like you're making a wish on either gaining life or taking it, or a karma token.
Mm.
Those would be my three.
Oh shit. Now you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
Well,
Right? Because
if it did both, it would definitely be a drain token.
right. Right.
But the fact that it does one or the other,
Yeah, you'd have to it's a choice of either like gifting or damning kind of. So
my head's kind of thing. See, but it's only ever positive towards you. So I would
yeah.
my immediate thought was something like God's favor, or like, you know, like
Ooh, a
some like
favor token.
whimsy, like of just like, yeah, like
Yeah.
favor
Some
token. Yeah. I've link it to Theros and have like the god or whatever playing with gods and be like, you know, yeah, they're granting you a boon or fuck over your enemy.
yeah, boon or a curse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a boon and a curse. Yeah. I like it. All right, cool. Yeah, I I like that. That was the first token that I went to when I was thinking about this stuff. Um, I think that's easily something they could put in Magic, even though, like you said, the modal tokens might not be an avenue they go to because it's you have to kind of have it of like this token does this,
This thing.
not like this or this thing. But
Yeah.
eventually, I'm sure over time they're gonna have to start reaching into that space.
Yeah. Complexity creep. Eventually they'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, that would be a great token for spectacle because every once in a while you need to deal a damage for spectacle to get cheaper, and
Yeah.
it would help in a lot of different decks. So, all right, what kind of tokens are you were you looking at? Were you thinking of? Give me some explanations here.
So I have a token. Um, my draft idea is the recycle token, where it would be, you know, pay to tap, sacrifice it to put a card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's a
so like you
useful
could
little token.
recycle your shit. I would imagine it would have to come into play tapped most of the time. So you can't like I'm sure there's some way to abuse putting something back in your library at instant speed
And
like
then
that.
tutor it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Immediate tutor.
exactly. Immediately. But yeah, that would so I was thinking like again, design spaces that I haven't seen tokens do. Let's get some graveyard interaction, put it back into the under bottom of the library.
What would the mana value be for sacrificing that? Just one? Are you doing
I would say
two?
two. Yeah, two tap
Two.
sack. Because then I was thinking, okay, so Eternal Witness is like the standard put something from your graveyard back into your hand card. And that's 3 mana. So if 3 mana is justifiable for a body and a card from graveyard to your hands, then I can't imagine 2 mana to put something on the bottom of your library is like that far off. Because you don't want the token to be OP.
Yeah, because as you were saying it, I thought you were going to say on top of your library, and I was like, whoa.
That's
But at the
crazy.
second you said bottom of your library, I was like, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's
So
cool.
yeah, that's a recycle token.
I like that you even have the name for it immediately, definitively the recycle, which is a good token. Now, what decks would you run this in? Like, what archetypes are you using this?
Well, any deck where like your deck is built around like I feel like that goes you could use that in like I know a lot of commander decks. Any deck that's built around getting like you need a specific creature or like you know built around like the 4 of you have if you're in a constructed or if you have like a secret commander or something like that and you need to just like keep that going around or I don't know, maybe decks like the Relentless Rats, Shadowborn Apostles, Petitioners, where like you want to have those creatures in abundance, and especially Shadowborn Apostles where you sacrifice them, so like you can keep like recycling them back into your deck to get more. Compare it with shuffle effects and things like that, and then it also makes Grenzo Dungeon Water like incredibly good. So
Oh yeah. That's all right. That's cool because I mean it's hard to manipulate the bottom of your library, but something like that would really pump that up.
and the Doctor Who commander that lets you draw from the bottom of your library actually would also make her very good.
Damn.
And that would
Right.
be very specific to very specific commanders. Like, so I don't think it would be OP or broken or anything.
Yeah. That's very viable. I mean, yeah, that
Oh,
even could have fit into the Fallout.
yeah.
What's up?
The other card that inspired me about that too was I'm not going to say the name. The commander that the one that doesn't have a mana cost with the Astro Moore Mandicolar Gabagool fucking person. Yeah,
Your listener knows exactly what card you're
yeah.
talking about too. That's so funny. Yes. Yeah, that would fit.
Because they have like the cookbook, and I don't think the cookbook is after like it kind of gets fucked over. Like, because I'm pretty sure, like, I'm looking it up right now. I think she like can find it. Yeah. When ETBs, you may search your library for a card named the Underworld Cookbook, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So once that cookbook is gone, like you're kind of fucked. So you want to like cycle it back into your deck somehow. And most of the time that's really only in green. So I feel like giving all the colors away to like get back that like one important value piece makes exiling things more important.
Yeah. Yeah, that honestly, that would be a nice pillar to Magic. And constructed would be iffy on it, but I mean, it would be one of the most useful things in Commander possible. I mean, even just to get a board wipe back in your deck if you need it, or whatever. That's a utility token that could really go. And again, I love that you named it already, and the recycle token is perfect.
Or
Nice.
hit me with your next token.
Okay. So again, I'm playing off of that trinity of how we can add stuff to it. So I was thinking of how we can do a treasure token um, that isn't just sacrifice it and get mana. So I'm thinking of like you have to pay life to go get a mana. That way, you're not gaining mana, but you're fixing your mana. So it's like a shittier version of a treasure token. So, all right. The way I'm seeing it is like you can pay one mana and sacrifice it to get a mana of any color.
Word.
So just like it's not as good as a treasure token, but maybe you can make them more abundantly, and it'll allow decks that you need other colors in order, like Gonti, where you want to cast things from other people, and sometimes you need to use mana that you don't have available to you. So it would be nice to, I mean, treasure tokens are as good as it fucking gets. It's just a treasure that is a
Yeah.
mana. It's little
Rainbow
lotus petals nonstop. But so like in order to nerf it down and maybe get more usable is like you pay the one mana and you sacrifice it, and then yeah. So you pay the one mana, you sacrifice it, and you get one mana of any color. That way you can turn your mana into any color, and then it'll help you out. So not the most useful of tokens, but it's something that they could definitely incorporate. And a flourish token, ramp token, color change token, but just a shittier version of a treasure token, because treasures are so good, and sometimes you don't want to give out a treasure, but you still want to give out a token that can help out. So I think we need to fill that void space.
So I actually wonder if they'll ever do like super treasure or like I don't know the fuck, but like I wonder if pay one tap sack for two of a color of your choice. I wonder if that's too strong.
No, that's not. I mean, so that's a less powerful version than a treasure token. So that's one thing I was looking at too. Is like, so pay one, sack it, and get two mana of any color. Right? Is
Yes.
what you're saying? Okay, which is just a treasure token, except weaker because you have to have mana untapped in order to do it. So
Yeah,
that
but
would be
you do get
cool
two.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, if you were to just tap a mana and sack a treasure, you're getting two mana anyway. So it's like it's
Yeah.
just as good. Treasures are just so good.
It's like the
But
megamorph of treasures in my head is what I'm thinking. Like,
yeah, and
oh, it's
so
the thing +1.
when I dabbled that a pay one mana, sack it, make two of any color, I call it the surge token. It'll be
I
a
like
surge
that.
token.
I like that.
Yeah, just pump you out, get you those two colors you need. But again, at the end of the day, it is ramping you, And I was looking for just a little better than the power tokens. The power tokens suck. It's a treasure that you could tap to activate an ability or a non or an artifact spell, but like it limits you to, you can't cast instants or creatures or any of that shit.
Yeah.
It's so useless. So I just wanted something that can tap to fucking help. But I don't know. The power tokens, when I first saw them, I read them almost like a little mana rock. And dude, mana rock tokens would be great, but that would be broken.
Yeah.
Because that ultimately that's a treasure token that isn't sacking.
Is there a commander that does that? Luxanne?
Yes, Roxanne.
Oh yeah, Roxanne. She makes rocks.
Yeah. But I mean that's a wild token. If you were to just be like, hey, make mana rocks. The
Yeah,
fuck out of here.
soul ring tokens.
Yeah. Can you imagine 2 mana 1/1 make a mana rock? I'd play that in standard.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Play that. Because then it's also and the black in me is like immediate. It's like, well, then I could use it as a sacrifice target too. It made me the mana rock, and then I sacrifice it for its use.
Mayhem Devil would deal 1.
Ooh, yeah, ramp and deal damage. Look at the color of this beer. I don't
Would you pour
know
like
about that.
muddy water into that?
All right, yeah, that's the
She's
golden stout. I don't
is
know about
it
that.
golden? It looks brown to me.
Yeah, it looks very brown to me too on this side of the camera also. Oh, it smells smooth as shit though. Hold on.
Reminds me of when Austin Powers drinks the shit. It's good.
Dude, that's okay. So that's what it looks like, diarrhea to me. But dude, this tastes like a cream ale stout. Like root beer, like birch root beer or something. It tastes like birch root beer. It is so vanilla-y and smooth and calm. This is fucking really good. Double magically bulicious. The golden stout. I was so ready to shit talk this, and then it just impressed the hell out of me.
Take a sip, and you're like, oh.
Yes, my eyes bulged. That was good. But all right, yeah, surge tokens or some nerfed Power Stone, but fuck Power Stones.
Fuck Power Stones. You heard it here first.
All right, what else you got?
My next token, I came up with the draft name of like a potential token. Literally like potential token, or like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just saying potential. I don't have another better name for it. But
all right,
it would function similar to a mass, except that it would be, if you don't have a potential token, you create one, then put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then it would be pay 2, sacrifice it, move the +1/+1 counters to a creature you control. So like a mini Ozolith token, where just like a mass, it would like things would be like, add a potential. And I was thinking about like, I don't know, maybe it's like teachers teaching like their future students, and then like the student gets all like the benefit of the knowledge, or people from the past, like we learned all these things, and then the people in the future can benefit from their knowledge, like type of something. But yeah, it would be a basically little Ozolith where it would store 1/1 counters on it, and then you'd sack it, and then you could put the 1/1 counters on a creature.
Interesting. Okay, so
you can only ever have one. You can only have one, obviously, just like a mass.
Okay, so then would it be a token on the battlefield, or would it almost be a counting of counters, almost like energy or experience counters, where it's like it's not on the battlefield that's counting it. On the battlefield, I could destroy it.
Yes.
Okay. And it gets 1/1 counters, and you can pay to sacrifice it to move all those 1/1 counters to another creature.
To one creature, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So just like a mass,
instant speed.
Yeah, just like in mass, you'd always, if you make more of them, it's just the one, and it just gets more 1/1 counters on it. And then it goes to one creature, and then
interesting. That's really cool. And it's but like you said, that is a token Ozolith. Well, no, it's not, because it's not something that can move back and forth. So you have to sacrifice it to use it, and it can be destroyed. And
it'd be too good if it was back and forth.
What would be the mana cost to sacrifice it?
I'm thinking 2. I don't think it's that strong.
Yeah, I would say 2 also.
Oh, it could be a time capsule. Maybe it's that's what we call it. Like people from the past literally depart like knowledge, and then in the future you can sack it and like utilize that knowledge.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. And like scribes and scholars would be like the creatures that when they enter, they make
Yeah.
it, you know? Interesting. That'd be cool. Maybe for the next Strixhaven visit, we get something like that, you know?
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. I like that token a lot. How can we abuse it? What would it be? I mean, that'd be kind of hard. You really can't. Because even if you proliferate, I mean, proliferate is no different than just adding counters to creatures. So
Yeah.
can you collect other counters on it? Counters of any type? Would
I
you
mean,
allow that?
I don't think it would like not. I mean, I feel like any if there was a card that could put counters on it, I don't see why not. But then are you
Yeah.
saying like built in? I mean, I guess you could do different forms of the
Yeah.
token where it's like,
Just
or
collects
it
all
could,
counters.
yeah, or you could just have on the creature be like, you know, time capsule 1, add a flying counter to a time capsule counter you control. You know what I mean? Like that type of setup.
Okay, that way it has its own capsule, and then when it bursts, it turns
Yeah.
those counters into
So it'd be a tap
1/1
2,
counters. Okay.
sack, move all counters from this token onto target creature you control.
Okay. All right. All right. I like it. I would run that in Kate the Cage Brawler if that was available. That's for sure. So okay, that brings me to my next tokens. So hear me out. With counters, they recently made trample counters, invincibility counters, or indestructible counters. All those counters are now a thing. Vigilance, death touch counters. How about we make them tokens also? So when creatures enter, because the counters are a little rough because it goes right on the creature. So if we want to make a nerfed version, you make a death counter or a life counter, and you can pay 1 mana, sacrifice it. Target creature gains life link until end of turn. It's just a one-time thing. It's these little things that you can use,
I
and
think
then
that's stronger.
but you just get it for 1 turn. You think that would be more powerful? You have to pay
Well,
mana, and you get it for 1 turn.
but you get to choose who you put it on, whereas the other ones as they exist now, like the creature needs to be on the battlefield to do it.
That's true. Okay. Oh, wow. So immediately you would think that's a stronger thing to hold these tokens with those abilities on them.
Yeah, so that you can choose like, oh, I don't have it out now, but I could put it on, my turn 5 makes an indestructible counter, and then my turn 6 I play it and immediately sacrifice my indestructible counter, put it on that thing, as opposed to
Yeah.
needing them both out.
Oof. An indestructible token would be pretty good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of just like trample tokens, lifelink tokens, maybe a little death touch token. Like
If
there's
not better
some.
than the same strength, how about that? If not better than
Okay,
the same strength,
for
but
sure.
I
Yeah,
definitely
I
feel
don't
like
see
the
this as weak.
value.
Yeah, and I mean, you could always just use them as also artifact sacrificers because
Yep,
marionette masters and all that shit is always out
all
there.
that good shit.
So, but yeah, I figured if we could turn it into counters, let's turn it into tokens too, and it would be pretty easy. But actually, you're right. Actually, now saying it also as making artifacts for City's Blessing, artifact sacrifices, and everything. Maybe it is better than just putting a little counter on something. Damn, I didn't see it as more powerful when I was looking into it. Okay, how about this? How about a token that gives a creature unblockable? So you sacrifice it and get, because unblockable is a very powerful thing in Magic now. You really got to be careful where you say unblockable. But if you put it on a token and you could sacrifice a token and it's almost like a Rogue's Passage one-time token, that'd be pretty good, right?
That's like, okay, so I feel like that's too good
That's so good, yeah.
because I'm thinking about it now. So like the 3 things that come to mind when I think unblockable, it's like the 1-drop blue creatures that have unblockable, that have 1 power, have unblockable usually built in. It's Rogue's Passage, which is like the premier like commander version because it's easy to put in any deck. That's 4 mana and itself to tap to activate.
Yeah.
So it's like 5 mana worth of resources to give. And then the other one is Whisper Silk Cloak, which is the other premier can't be blocked type thing. That's 3 mana to play, 2 mana to equip. So that is also 5 mana of investment. So if they're saying it's 5 mana of investment to give a creature the ability to unblockable, or it's a 1/1 for 1 mana, like I definitely think that it would be like pay 4 and sack the token to put unblock. You know what I mean? Like it'd have to be expensive.
What if you have to sacrifice another creature? So tap it, pay 2 mana, sacrifice another creature. So it's like this blood ritual in order to give something unblockable.
I could see that being more reasonable. I
Okay,
mean, I still feel like it's strong, but
okay, I hear you 100%. And so if we were to ever see something like this, it would have to have extra conditions beyond just some mana.
or be more expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it's literally like tap it and spend 6 because you're gonna give unblockable to something fucking huge. You're gonna give it to your fucking 8/8 flyer.
Yeah.
You know, I guess
It's normally going to end the game.
Yeah, and your Impervious Great Worm is suddenly unblockable. It's like what?
Yeah. Okay. 2 mana, sacrifice a creature for life. Target creature gets unblockable, and you have to sacrifice it.
And you have to sacrifice a creature?
Yeah, sacrifice a creature for life, 2 mana. So it's a whole ritual. You got to do the whole ritual to give that unblockable.
Sure. I feel like that's an enchantment at that point. That's not a fucking. It's not a token.
It's a token. No, it's a token.
The hell of a token.
They're making them beefier these days. It's power creep.
You have to do 5 jumping jacks and file your taxes for next year, and then it gets unblockable.
Yeah. Agree to sacrifice the whole next game. Whole next game you start with no hand. Something crazy, but
play a round of Pokemon and then
do the hokey pokey.
Yeah.
And turn yourself around. All right. I'm looking through my notes here. I have written in the middle of it also is more modal tokens. I'm really into the modal tokens.
All
Let's
in.
see that shit. Yeah. Because that opens up such a fucking space. I mean, even for blue tokens, it could be like, 3 mana draw life, draw a card, which is not that favorable, or 2 mana, or 4 mana return target creature to opponent's hand. That's 2 blue things that you really want to do. And, they're not priced out correctly, but if you have the options of it on a token, put it in there.
Put it in there. Modal tokens.
Modal tokens, yeah. We'll have to see that. One day we'll see it in Magic. And
it's interesting that you went that way. That's not where I thought at all.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, that Rogue's Passage token would be called a sneak token.
Word, yeah.
Or I guess a passage token we could call it too, but
I have one more.
All right, what else you got? Hit me.
Solid
Hit
token. Me. My last one I would call like a Venom token or something, but it would be an easy like tap, pay mana, tap, sack, put a -1/1 counter on something.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, just like a simple, and it's just like Venom. I wanted to call it like a flask of poison or something, because I was picturing somebody just like chucking, throwing like a bottle of poison at somebody or some shit like that, but or acid rather, but maybe Venom would be the way because poison exists as poison counters. But yeah, just a token that interacted with creatures. Like I said, because there was life, there's life gain, there's drawing a card, there's drawing a card with blood tokens, there's mana, but nothing that really like hurts the enemy. You know what I mean? Like the other facet of Magic is like combat. So I did my +1/+1 counters token, and then I would do like a -1/1 counter token.
Oh, that would fit in really nicely. And that's nice too. Yeah, you can collect them, and then when
a Fester comes token. Out. Looking at Festering Goblin, call it a Fester token.
Oh, Fester is the perfect one. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, or yeah. That's interesting. All right. And it would actually put the token on. So then if you have like all right, so if you were to have a Hardened Scales and you were to sacrifice that token, would that put 2 -1/-1 tokens?
I
'Cause
think
you're
hardened scale
producing it?
specifically +1/+1.
Oh, okay. Would pa
Um,
so then Panharmonicon? No, 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 because that's, uh
yeah, if one or more, it's +1/+1 specifically. It'd have to say like if a doubling season, for instance, would double that.
okay, okay,
But
alright.
that might be a May effect. Um, if an effect would create one or more tokens under your, if an effect would put one or more counters on a permanent you control, it puts twice that many. Yeah, so it's doubling season would fuck you on that. You'd get 2 negative counters.
That's cool. Alright. Yeah, that and I like the Fester token. Hapatra
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
cards like that would get way more
Scorpion
powerful.
God. Still waiting on
Yeah.
your Jun's -1/-1 deck.
Uh-huh, okay. Alright, maybe I'll look into it. It's funny you say you have the itch for, building commander decks, and I also have the itch. The only problem is, like, I know I don't I'm already kinda maxed out, and I have new decks, so I know I should be controlling myself, but damn, dude, the pulling to build commander decks is just out of control
Oh
because you
yeah,
always have
nothing's
something new.
better. Yeah, nothing's better than when you find 120 cards that you can use in a deck.
Yeah,
And
because
you're like,
even,
well,
Asmeranda Morta Dictacar or whatever the
yeah.
fuck, and her cookbook, that was something I was, like, looking at, and then the last time I was at Keldon's and we played, Nick had just built that. Well, whether he just built it or not, I don't know, but it was my first time ever coming across it, and, it was a cool deck, but now that I've seen someone, using it, like, I don't wanna touch it until I know it's fully retired. I don't wanna be,
Yeah.
crossing, decks with anyone.
Which,
Um,
side note, I feel like it's pretty incredible how our pods and the different like groups of pods that we have, there's pretty much no overlap with anybody's commanders.
no, no. Do you think that's organic or just like coincidence? Like, is
Both.
that us policing it? Yeah, well, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because like
Because
for
definitely we're
instance,
aware.
yeah, for our core pod of like you, Mark, myself, and like a fourth, Joey, most of the time, we typically wouldn't build the same one of each other's.
Yeah.
Connor and
Yeah.
Melissa wouldn't build like, think something we have.
Yeah. Even when Connor had mentioned something about Obeka for a second, he was expecting that I built it. But when he mentioned it, I was like, oh no, is he building it? I won't touch
Yeah,
Obeka. Yeah,
exactly. I wouldn't want to do that.
yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we're very aware of that. I do like when we kinda get sloppy seconds on it, where, like, one of us waits until someone breaks it down, and you hear that they're
Yep.
breaking it down. It's like, "Oh, you broke up with her? I'm getting in that," you know?
Well, I'm actually slowly, and I'm not buying. I'm literally not buying any cards for this. This is another deck that was part of Operation. Let's just recycle decks consistently, so I can keep playing new ones, but still have the same card pool. Kalia, but I would do the three. There's all three bitches in one. I
Yeah,
love that Melissa's done focused ones, and that's allowed her to have three like distinct decks. Or I know she at least has two. She at least has dragons and angels. I'm not sure if she runs a mono demon one, but
yeah, I don't think so.
I just have enough. I have enough dragons and fucking angels and demons that haven't made it into other decks that are literally just hanging out. And it's like I have a Kalia that I pulled from Modern Horizons 3 pack, so why not just slap them all in the deck?
Yeah, hell yeah. And, I mean, Kali is very powerful, but, like, I feel like it'll have less target than the dragon that made tokens.
Oh,
Whoa,
Miram, yeah, Miram that
yeah,
duplicated
Mira.
them. Yeah, that was fucking gross.
I couldn't look at anything else on the board when you had that out because I mean, typically you're mana crypting into it early, and it was one of those like I got to get rid of this right away. Otherwise, turn 4, we're gonna have dragons out the ass. I I love when people are playing commanders of power on the battlefield because it does add that extra layer to commander. Like, listen, if we all sat down and played Commander and we really all were even powered and handling everything separately and fairly and everything, dude, that's lame. That's missionary, Like I want I want some wild shit. You know, I want
Yeah.
fingers flying where
I
they
want the
should.
shit you need to pay for.
Yeah, yeah. I want afterwards to be like, holy shit, what the fuck did we do? So yeah, I love it. I love when shit like that happens. But also you have to target the dragons all the time. All right. One last idea for tokens is curses are not that powerful. Let's see if we can maybe get cursed tokens. You know, just when you produce that token, it comes under control of someone else. And or well, I guess tokens curses don't actually come under control of someone else. But let's say in this circumstance it does. You know, create a token under someone else's control at the beginning of the upkeep. This token deals 1 damage to them unless they pay 5 mana to sacrifice it. So, like, your opponent can
I
get
like
rid of
that.
it. It's not like it's an emblem, but also it's going to hinder them in order to do it. You know,
That's
and
actually really unique. That's a good idea. Tokens that come into play under the opponent's control and they can get rid of them by paying for them is that's there's a ton of design space there. I feel like.
yeah, I mean, so far the only way they really do that is the rock. There's the rock where when you can
Yeah.
make it, you know, and now it's an artifact for the someone else controls. It deals 1 damage, but you really can't get rid of that rock. So if you're going to be doing a lot of these little tokens, give them the ability to do it. But god damn it, you're going to be paying at least 3 to 5 mana to get rid of it. Otherwise, it's just 1 damage. I'd love to see that. I'm still waiting on my curse deck. Honestly, so we're at a point now where I still don't have a Rakdos deck. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, man.
That's gross.
I think I got to put Xantra back together. That was just where I felt most comfortable. So, but
I have a pitch for you.
all right, hit me. What do we got?
A brewing pitch.
All right, I'm
All right.
open.
The commander is Zira the Golden Sting.
Yes, yes, 100% yes,
Dude.
That's so funny,
Dude, flying haste 3/3. Put your egg counters on your opponent's creatures. Exclusively deal with -1/-1 counters. You get to draw a card and get an insect, and you can run Maha its Feathers Knight from Bloomburrow as like easy pickings for killing people.
Yeah, this is one of the cards where when it was announced, I thought it was in standard. I was ready to build standard around this deck. That deck is how I build standard. Give me the haste, give me the chaos. And when I found out that it wasn't, it broke my heart because
Oh my
I
god, you
was
could run
so
New
ready.
Massacre Girl.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. I'm in. Now,
Zira.
do you remember at one of the last Magic Fests, someone had cosplayed as her?
Yes.
Dude, that was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't
that
know who
was
it is,
Telling.
but yeah. What an interesting cosplay to pick, and yet it was fantastic. No, I like that. But yeah, no, curse tokens, and I don't know, call it a curse token. It's that simple. Just call it a curse. And maybe during that set, have blessing tokens too. You know, make tokens. Tokens are going to be the next design space of Magic the Gathering. Now that power creep is very visible, and they need to chill out on it.
Yeah, because then you
Throw
can
it into
you can
tokens.
offset some of the complexity onto the token. It's like,
Right.
instead of needing to make a creature that does 50 things, just have a creature that makes something that does 50 other things.
Right. Like your 1-drop can still be a 1/1, but it's going to
But it
make a token that can do something.
makes this thing that's also like cool.
Right. And it's not usable right in the beginning of the game. But if you reach turn 6, turn 7, suddenly this token will be what can propel you forwards, or, you know, tokens. It's good shit. And it really all started. There's been no movement like the treasure token. We need to really just acknowledge that the treasure token is taking over Magic the Gathering. When are we getting our treasure token? Well, let's get our Bridge 4 tattoos, and then we'll get our treasure token tattoos.
Yeah, Bridge 4.
Bridge 4. I just finally let Dana know. I was like, just so you know, my next tattoo is a Bridge 4 tattoo. So She's like, "Really? You're gonna get a Bridge 4 tattoo instead of one of our matching tattoos?" I'm like, "You don't
Yes.
understand."
Yeah, no, dude. I was with Kaladin carrying that fucking bridge. Like, you don't get it. We've been through a lot. We
Yeah,
trained in the
and
fucking ravines.
re-listening to Rhythm and War right now, it's just so eye-opening to see everything happening. Again, when I listened to the entirety of the Cosmere, it was a marathon. I was sprinting through it all. I needed to get all of it in. And now that I'm done and I know the whole concept of it, going back and like chewing through certain books has been just an absolute gem. Um, but obviously, this last one, Rhythm and War, Kaladin is just bad luck,
Dude.
Brian. Bad luck,
Yeah,
Brian, in every way.
the worst.
Breaks my heart. But it's funny too. Is so I just found out yesterday that my aunt is dropping off 10 chickens to me. I am gonna have chickens this week.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I gotta get ready for chickens. I have to get a brooding nest ready, a fucking keep for them, a run for. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing with the chickens. But at the end of the day, I told everybody, I'm like, I'm naming one of these chickens Moash.
And then is that the one you're
One,
gonna eat?
no, I'm on Moash's side, dude.
No!
Dude, he's just hurting like everyone else,
No,
man.
what a fucking piece of shit. Fuck Moash.
No,
Sanderson's been
no.
considering giving him a redemption arc, but I'm team like I hope he just gets obliterated.
And may his soul rest easy. I see it as the whole epitome of Elden Ring, Dark Souls, and everything is like everyone's storyline is gray. There is no winners, losers. There's no good guys, bad guys. It's everyone's trying to achieve something, and sometimes lines cross. And at the end of the day, what Moash's origination of everything was of just nobility. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. He was just
Yeah,
trying
but
to
he
help
didn't
out.
even take it out on the wrong person, the right person. So I feel like that argument's invalid.
No, because that's literally what Dark Souls is. It's like when that person steps in your way of your goal and you're like, listen, I don't want to take you down, but you need to let me finish my path. And they're like, no, your path is unjust. It's like, this is my path, though. Let me finish my path. And now suddenly two good people are fighting
He's not
because
a
they
good
both
person.
have just goals to get to, and their goals are conflicting. I hate to say, Moash is my guy.
Nope. All right. Podcast is over. This
Hey,
is it.
bro.
Everyone's witnessing the death of Brewing Through the Multiverse because this is
No,
irreconcilable.
there's no hope for Moash on you, huh?
No, I hope he dies.
How about those moments when there's that weakness and he starts to feel it and he panics and you see him like literally just hurting?
Yeah, then
You
he
don't
should have
care?
stopped. Kaladin would have took him back in at any point.
He can't kill
And then he went as
Kaladin.
far as then see, okay. Even after the first time, okay, should we be talking about spoilers on the show? Actually,
Yeah.
Anybody wants
No
to
one, no
read?
one made it past the hour. No one made it past the hour.
Not true. That's true. No one's listening. He. It's just that he did the fucked up thing, which was wrong. Then he left. Whatever, piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then he ended up like continuing to work with the face. Not the faceless. The fucking what are they called? The fused. Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
didn't have to do that. He didn't have to continue to do that.
Well, you're right, and that's pretty bad of him.
Like he chose to
It's pretty
he did
shitty.
the thing and then continued to do the thing and just kept getting worse and is now trying to literally bully Kaladin into like either killing himself or
But
like
he made the
leaving
line of
cause.
like, you can't kill Stormblast. You can't kill Stormblast. Don't try, but you can, ruin his every waking
his life,
moment of peace
which
and
is
sleep.
even
Yeah.
worse, which is worse than just fucking killing him. So it's like 3 levels of shitty. Like once you've hit shitty level 3,
Okay.
like
All right, I know souls in my life that are going through this right now where they've done something wrong. They've doubled down because now they think that they're stuck in it. And now they're living a life that they fucking feel like they've made for themselves and they're stuck in. Like they don't realize that at any moment they can change and get out of it. And that's where Moash is at. And it's just a moment of his life. Moash is gonna, after all this, he's gonna look around, he's gonna be like, oh my God,
Not when
oh
you're
my
fucking
God,
with my boy.
I'm a fused. And what's his name in Fused? He has his own name in the Fused world, but like
Vire.
he's Vire. Yes. Good name too. But he's gonna realize and he's gonna be like, oh my gosh, fucking I need Cal. I need to protect Cal. I think at the end of the day, he's what's gonna stop Adonalcium and all that shit. I think he's gonna fucking be an important part. Him and the fucking bald motherfucker.
I'll
with the
accept
sword.
him sacrificing his life to save Kaladin. That's
Okay. I'll meet you in the
that's
middle
the o-
there.
that's the
Redeem
only
himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only way he could redeem himself, if he dies and his death helps the heroes in some way.
That would be the most beautiful thing. Okay. All right.
Yeah, like if he stops
love it.
Odium or something, he tanks like Odium for a second.
Damn. I'll drink to that. Cheers.
Cheers.
That would be a beautiful thing. All right. Yeah. Damn. What a beautiful finish. So anyway, tokens are pretty good in Magic the Gathering. Everyone get through the entirety of the Cosmere. And we'll see what Magic does moving forwards. Duskmorn, do you think any wild tokens? Is there going to be a Nightmare token? Is there going to be anything wild like that?
I have no idea. I'm actually very interested in reading the story though, because I know you're talking about tokens. Let me go back to tokens. Maybe there's like a TV cassette player token because it's like 80s horror. So like the showcases are like old TV sets. So maybe there'll be something like that, like a videotape. Like, oh, if you get 3 videotape counters or 7 videotape counters, you lose the game.
Right? Yeah. Enough counters, the trap goes off, and then you take 5 damage or some shit like that. Right?
Quick question then. How many, if there was a token that if you collected a certain number of them, you lost the game or won the game? I guess it would depend. Well, I guess that we already know what win the game would be because it's 20 with fucking Reign of Riches.
Yep.
But if you collected like a point, I guess it'd be kind of like poison, except that it was a token. But you could pay to sacrifice it to get rid of them. How many would you need, and what would this cost need to be to sacrifice them? Off the cuff, what are you thinking?
10 mana, only 2 to sacrifice.
All right, so you need 10 of them.
I'm sorry. 10 tokens.
10 to lose, 2 to
them.
sacrifice. Okay, so poison, but with 2, pay 2 to get rid of one of them.
Correct. Yeah, because I mean, if you can pay the 2 mana, there's those turns where like on turn 5, it's like, listen, I'd rather just get rid of 2 of these than, do anything else. And how many cards are really going to be producing these tokens too? It's not like these tokens are going to be as easily produced as
right?
Unless it's something like a creature says, deal 1 damage, produce a token on target opponent. I mean, because then that's literally kind of toxic, except it can be removed, which is still fine.
That would make me think that it would need to be less than 10 total. Because if you think about, okay, the set, the set that Infect came out,
yeah,
it was just,
it can't be more powerful than Infect.
No, but I feel like it could be on par. Like if it's an actual win condition you're trying to go for. But the thing is, you can pay to get rid of them. You can't pay to get rid of Toxic, or you can't pay to get rid of Poison.
But then you could be more liberal with giving them. Like you could have an instant that says give 3 fucking tokens to an opponent. You could get more liberal.
Okay, so then go the other way, but like have it be like 15. If you had 15 of these, you lose, but you can pay like 3 mana to get rid of them or 2 mana to get rid of them.
And now this would be great. Let's say it is 15 and they're giving liberally, but you can easily sacrifice them. Something like Pitiless Plunderer. Or Generous Plunderer, that new 2 mana red, 1 red. Whenever it attacks, deals damage equal to the artifacts an opponent controls, and then you can give like that right there. Like, can you imagine if you start all right, they have 10 and they're gonna keep themselves from dying that, but you swing and 10 damage happens? That'd be crazy. I'd love that. That's the problem with tokens, is there's always a card like Generous Plunderer, or those whenever an artifact enters a graveyard, opponent deals the damage. Like, those cards are what keep Magic so spicy. I love it. Because this
I love
design
it.
space is great. And then there's always
Yeah.
those outliers where it's like, but what about this card? And then shit gets crazy. And that's how you break Commander. I love it. Anyway, that is
Bottom of the
bottom
glass.
of the fucking glass. We went on tangents. We had fun with this one. This was
Yes.
actually, this is our best episode.
I was gonna say, good shit.
The theory crafting of what Magic should be. I'm telling you, our next one should be, how are we gonna do the next 4-player drafts? What kind of weird shit can they throw? Because like, there's Conspiracy, there's Battle Bond, there's what the fuck is the one, Arch Enemy, there's the fucking Arch Enemy is the one with Nicol Bolas, right? And then Plains Chase, that's the one. So we got 4 different versions, but like,
So
we
you're
need
saying
some
metagame. Next
Metagame.
episode is designed like a metagame in Magic.
Yeah, like, how can you play a 4-player game that isn't just Commander? What can you add to it? Whether it be just the Conspiracy, whether it just be the fucking Initiative was, a thing. Battle Bond, 2-headed giant, there's things. So I'd love to theory craft some what Magic should be doing rather than what they are currently doing. But one last thing. Let's see if you can see this on camera. No, you can't. But dude, this handle is it looks like Mars itself. I'll send you a high-res photo of this online, but literally this is gonna be a Mars bread knife.
That's fucking sick. Look at that.
Yeah, good time. Anyway, I'm on my way to Perkins. I'm gonna go eat some breakfast, but I'm not
Hell
driving.
yeah.
Don't worry, everybody, because those beers murdered me.
Word.
You're here brewing through the multiverse. Take it easy, brother.
Take it easy.